Welcome to the Christ Church of Jackson's weekly video ministry. Every week, one of our team members shares a short devotional from our life experiences. Presently, we have 46 subscribers and 242 videos on our YouTube channel. Some of these videos are then shared on our church's Facebook page. If you are interested in our weekly videos or our church website, call 286-3419, area code 740, for our church office, and ask Teresa how you can get connected to one or both of these tools of ministry. Today's video is entitled, Who's in Your Boat? This is not an original from me, but was borrowed from a YouTube video from a group called Breakaway Ministries entitled, Finding Your Boat, which comes from Luke chapter 5, verses 1 through 11. The speaker for this particular series was Sadie Robertson Huff. And she expressed how, as a 14-year-old girl, she began her speaking career about her walk with Jesus. Unfortunately, her talk, which was to have been 20 minutes, only lasted 5 minutes, and the people requested their money back. You know how that goes. You prepare enough material, but then you talk faster than you should, and you're done in a very short period of time. Well, she was crushed and humiliated and vowed to never speak in front of a group again. However, that wasn't God's plan, and with the encouragement of her mother, a few years later, she once again began to give her testimony. Why had she failed? Well, have you ever been discouraged by something you thought the Lord asked you to do and yet you failed? Have you failed to speak up when questioned about your faith? Well, if we examine the scriptures, we find several examples of what appears to be failures at first. Peter, whom Christ called the Rock, went back to fishing after the death of Christ. Why? Because it was something he knew how to do. Moses failed to listen to God when he wanted to send him to Egypt. He requested his brother be sent, but God told them that he would send them both. It wasn't God's plan, however, to send Aaron, but God sent them anyway. Paul, who was Saul before his experience of being blinded by God, fought after the Christians one by one. He persecuted them all. But God had other plans for him. After Christ's crucifixion, he was on the beach with a small fire and looked up to find Peter and others out fishing. He asked them if they had caught anything, and they said no. He then told them to cast out their nets on the other side to catch fish. He didn't say maybe. The word catch means it's going to happen. Peter exclaimed that they had toiled all night and hadn't caught a thing. But at the man's request, and he didn't know it was Christ raised from the dead at that time, he did so. And their nets were full. And immediately Peter's eyes were opened. Why? Because Christ knows the direction the fish are swimming. As a young girl, Sadie's faith and upbringing caused her to get left behind. She was kicked out of the lunchroom table at school with her friends because she didn't fit in. Her sporting career, playing basketball, wasn't going where she felt it should go. For a teenager, this was all so devastating. Sadie moved to Nashville, and before she left, one of her mentors said she had a word for her. The word was hineni, which is a Hebrew phrase composed of two words meaning, here I am, send me. At first, Sadie didn't understand. She was mad at God because she had worked so hard and it didn't seem that God cared about her work. Well, Sadie's calling came about sometime later when she had gone to listen to a speaker at a conference with friends. When the woman speaker came out, she didn't give her lecture. Instead, she leaned on the podium and said she had a word of encouragement to speak to someone at that assembly. Sadie was excited about this and listened carefully. And the speaker said the word was, can you guess? Hanini. Wow. She was floored, as this is not a common word, but it spoke to her that God wanted all of her in his boat. And it was at that time that she knew that God had given this word to her, and she knew that she needed to go to the altar and give everything she had to God. She realized that it wasn't in here, the church, but that she needed to be out there in the world, using all of her God-given talents to glorify his name. Today we need to examine whether or not we have Christ in our boat. And are we working out there, or are we comfortable staying in here, in the church? Let's examine that for the next week. Where should you be in the boat? And does Christ want you in the world or just in the church? Amen.